So welcome to this video on the Mariana Trench card for the Tiptop Audio Z DSP. Let's check out what's to come before we get into it. So before we get into it, there's two things to mention. First, this isn't a video on the Z DSP. I have a more detailed video on the Z DSP and the bundle of 3 new delay cards that's linked in the description. But first, just listen to this patch. It sounds lovely and it's just one of 8 algorithms on the Mariana Trench card. And with the modulation that I'm using here, it takes us from everything from scratchy little echoes, lush dampened delay trails, chorusing, pitch shifting, reverberant like cavernous effects. So I'll shut up and let's just listen for a minute. And it's just absolutely lush, and I wanted to leave enough time there for you to really soak in these effects, because I've been listening to this for about 7 hours at this point, having left this patch up and playing while I do some other things. So using a really basic tone, this 5-step arpeggio that you can hear playing fully dry, and I'll play around with these synth tones, change the filtering a little bit, and starting with this first one, the FDN Feedback Delay Network. Prepare for some absolute lushness to bathe in. It's like taking a bath in some delay and reverb cream or something. That paints a bit of a horrible picture in my mind though, so maybe don't think about that too much. So we're fully wet there, and we can hear all these delays feeding into each other, creating this lush, reverberant texture. Now just playing around with the filtering and some of the envelope shaping on the synth, listen how responsive this is. So we're 50-50 kind of dry-wet there, and we'll quickly go through the controls. Feedback will take us down to a single repeat. Frequency is delay time. Just going to get a richer sound coming in and open up the filter. And it'll go very short, do very nice chorus-like effects. And you'd want to replace me wiggling that knob with some attenuated LFO to get a nice chorus sound there. And dampening dampens down, filters the highs out of this kind of feedback trail, out of the internal feedback. Next up is the FDN waveguide. And a waveguide is like a tuned resonator type effect. Maybe not the best thing to demo with the arpeggio, and we'll come back to that with some percussion later in the video. But we get the frequency, the dampening of this waveguide effect. And some high passing as well. Here's an unstable feedback delay network. I'm just going to stop the arpeggio and just play a single note. You can hear that modulation on there. Unstable 2. A bit more extreme in its random fluctuatings of these delay times. Here's the modulated delay line. There's some nice stepped stereo effects there. Back off the modulation. There's some nice kind of haunted like textures out of this one. Another modulated line. Let's try this with an arpeggio again. So there it is dry. Some interesting wonky rhythms there. Feedback and dampening is on that second control. Here's a spread effect. Really nice metallic shimmery sound there. And of course, this being a stereo effect, make sure you've got some headphones on or decent speakers to really hear the most of it. And again, it just sounds great. And a second spread effect. And it just hangs like it's frozen somehow. So that's the Mariana Trench card on some arpeggiated tones and some basic analog synth tones. So to finish on, I've got some drums patched up, a kick, hi-hat, a little sidechain sample and hold modulated filter bass thing, and the snare. And this polymetric snare pattern is playing every 9th, 16th note is what's going into the Z-DSP and this Mariana Trench card. And I've just wanted to hit it with a little noisy percussive element so you could hear these effects in a different kind of context. So let's go through these effects again. And I love that like kind of damp whacked metal tube kind of effect with these faster delays and dampened kind of effect over the top. Nice short kind of reflective room-like verbs. clapping your hands under a metal bridge kind of vibe. Now going fully wet, this waveguide really excels with some short noisy percussion at the inputs. Let's play around. And it creates some beautiful circles on the Mordax data there. And this works great with a lot of modulation thrown at it. Step modulation into the damp, the frequency and the high pass. That's definitely something that you should try out. And I like this kind of drunk instability that this unstable 1 algorithm gives us. You can hear that stereo modulation there. We can always add this analog feedback path in on either the left or right side with the Z-DSP, something that I do more of in the Z-DSP video linked in the description. So that's just a couple of patches with the Mariana Trench card for the Z-DSP, a lush delay feedback network that creates reverbs, chorus-like shifts when we modulate it, those great pitch shift type effects with the downsampling internal clock modulation trick that you can do for the Z-DSP, and just another load of lush sounds to kind of bathe in. Great for little shots of percussion, really nice for melodic work as well. Check out the videos linked in the description. Hit like, subscribe, comment, support me on patreon.com/DivKid if you like the work that I do. Cheers.